All right. Good evening once again. You are all welcome. So let's start so that we can end up on time. So we started looking at the last aspect of Python before we start applying it for data analysis. So looking at the advanced data types. And I told us that the advanced data types has common attributes, which is ability to hold multiple values, unlike the primitive data type that can hold just a single value, that is using a variable concept. So we started looking at lists data type. You can see what we have done so far. Started looking at lists, and we define lists as one of the Python advanced data types, which is also used for holding multiple values. You can still remember. Then we also looked at some lists manipulating or manipulation methods, otherwise known as list manipulation functions. We look at how to print the type of list or the data type. We also looked at some set of functions which are used to add element to an already list, either to the end or to a specific position. We also look at how to sort the item of lists and how to reverse them the other way around. And then we also look at how to clear. And then toward the end of that class, I exposed us to dir as a function that can be used to print out all the methods that are associated with a particular data type. So what we are going to be focusing on in this session is to round up that advanced data types. So I will know that our next class, which is going to be on Thursday, we will not properly start how to use Python for data analysis. So it's assumed then, or it will be assumed that we all have basic Python knowledge. So tonight we are going to start with the second advanced data type. Second advanced data type, I'm trying to look at them according to the priority. I may not follow the order at which I listed them. So I want to look at Python dictionary. There is a data type which is called dictionary, Python dictionary data type. So we're going to look at that. So we start with what is a dictionary? What is a dictionary? So a dictionary is another data structure in Python that allows you to create key and values. So the structure or the syntax of a dictionary is quite different from the structure of a list. And one thing I told us we should look out for as we move from this data type, the advanced data type, is the type of brackets that will be involved or that are involved. You know, in the case of lists, we use this bracket, which is known as square brackets. Now, in the case of dictionary, we are using a different bracket, which is called the Colin bracket. So that is one of the difference between Python lists data type and a dictionary. The second difference is a dictionary has a key value pair structure. A key value pair structure. A key value pair structure. So what do I mean by this? Dictionary can be seen as collection of variable with values. I just put it that way so that we understand. You know, from our basic data type, we are familiar with variable concepts, where we have a variable as a data storage that holds a single value. But in the advanced or in dictionary, it's just like you are creating a bucket, and inside that bucket, all right, I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So like I was saying, a dictionary is just like you are creating a bucket, and inside that bucket, you are putting values inside. And each of the value will be held with a key. That key is what I am referring to as a variable. So I'm only trying to show us the difference, because out of the 4 advanced data structure in Python, dictionary is a little bit different from the rest of them in terms of the structure. It's just like 2 in 1. That is the reason why we are using the word key value pairs. 2 in 1, 2 in 1. So let's quickly look at the structure. So it's just like I want to create, let's assume that I want to collect or I want to create Prosper biodata. So I need an object, one single object that can help me to hold my biodata. That is the state, the first name, the middle name, the last name, the country, all of this, so that in the program, anytime I want to call out Prosper biodata, I can easily fetch that just using the dictionary. Okay, so anybody that understand Python knows that dictionary is one of the important data structure. So let's look at the syntax. Like I always advise us, anytime you are learning any function in a programming language, try and understand the syntax. It's very important. Once you understand the syntax, then every other thing will be easier for you. So the syntax, like I have already established, is a kind of format. Let me bring it down that way. The format, the way the code should be written. And that represents the rules that guide us in implementing that function. So the syntax here is, I can just say dictionary, let's say what, D1. Okay, let me just write it as a live code. So let's say D1 is my dictionary. Is my dictionary name, and then I will type equals to, in other words, let me put it like a tag so that it will look more presentable. So let's say we are asked to create a Python dictionary, which can be abbreviated to dict, Python dictionary to store my biodata, my biodata. So what are the biodata I want to store with the dictionary? Let's say name, could be first name, age, let's say country, let's say state, let's say gender. So let's assume that these are the biodata I want to store. You can go on and on. So how are we going to collect all this using one dictionary? So we are going to say, I will say bio underscore data as the name of the dictionary equals to, and then I will use this coiling bracket like I just explained to us. That is one of the difference between Python lists and dictionary. In Python list, we use square bracket to collect the values, while in dictionary we are using these coiling braces or braces, right? So now I said is a key value pairs. That is, every dictionary you create has a key, has a value, has a key, has a value. And what separates the key from the value is the column. All right. Now, let's say I want to start with the name, and the name is going to be first name. So I'm going to acknowledge that as a string. Either I use double quote or I use single quote. So I'll simply type first name. I just want, and then you insert a column. You insert a column like this. So that column is to say that you want to create value for the key. So the key in this case is the first name. All right. So subsequently, when I want to access any value, I can use the key of that value to fetch it from the dictionary. So the same principle that we followed when we were working with variable, where if you are storing a string, you need to quote it either with single quotation or double. Then if you are storing a number type, then it does not require the quotation. So that same rule is very much observed here. So what I want to store is still what? A string. So I'll create another. Remember that you come outside. But what I'm going to do, let me just want to come in. Right, so let me use first name, then my keyboard, I need to supposed to trying to get the first name, come in. So I need to close this one here and then column in between them, and then you create another column. Now the value of my first name is Aguero, right? So this is the key value pair we are talking about. The whole of this is one. That is two in one. The key and the value. So that is why I defined earlier on that dictionary is just like collection of variables and their value. So this is like a variable and the value. All of them are inside the dictionary. Then once you have declared the value, you come outside the quotation of the value and put a comma, and then you declare another key. From what we say we are creating, I've collected the first name, so I want to collect age. So I will do the same thing here, and then come outside the quotation and then put column, And the age is a number, so I will just type it without quoting it. So we still need to follow the standard rules. Then put a comma. So the next dictionary, the next one is country. So country. The next one is country. Country. And then come outside the column. Country is still a string. Let's say Nigeria. So I still have one more comma, then states. That is another dictionary for states. And the value you are storing in is another string. So I will say, let's say data. So I still have another dictionary, which is for gender, which is, can just say gender. Then come outside, put your column. Gender is still a string, so I'll put the same. So I'll make it a string, and then gender, let's say male. All right, so this is the structure. So I want us to take note of the format, the syntax. Remember, this is the key holding Eguero within the dictionary. This is another key, age, holding Eguero age. This is another key, a country, holding Eguero's country. This is another key. So in other words, we have just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keys. And the number of key must be equal to the number of values, because each key is expected to receive a value, right? So now let's look at how to print printing the dictionary. Let's look at printing the dictionary. So to print our dictionary, we'll just use the same printing method, and then we pass in the name of the dictionary, which is biodata. And then by the time you run your code, you should be able to confirm that you have successfully printed all the words, the entire dictionary. So that is how to declare dictionary. Now, let's also check with the Python function whether that particular data is actually a dictionary. So we are going to use the same function that I've showed us before to check data type, right? Using the dot type method. If you can still remember, we have learned something like this before. So I will say print, because I want to output the result is going to output, or the result is going to generate. Print, I will say type, and then just like we are nesting type as an independent function inside another function called print, because we want to get the output. Then we supply the name of the dictionary. In other words, we just want to know the type of data it is, just for us to be sure that whether we have actually created a dictionary or not. So if I run it, and then you see it as what? Class dict, which means this is a dictionary. That is what it means. All right. So now let's look at how to access dictionary value. How to access. I hope you are taking note of this. Be writing, because at some point I'll hold on for you to practice how to access dictionary elements, just like what we did in the case of lists. Now, to access dictionary elements, if you want to access all, you print it like this. But let's say, for instance, we want to access Eguero. We want to access Eguero. That is, from the whole of that dictionary, we want to print out only one key value, Eguero. You know, when we're dealing with lists, we use the indexing concept, where we acknowledge that all elements in a list has a numerical representation. You know, we use the index 0 to print the first one, index 1 to print the second one, but we can't use that logic to print dictionary because dictionary has key. So the key will not replace what we are doing with the indexing concept. So to do that, so let's assume that I want to access a Prosper value. I want to access Prosper. So what I'm going to simply do is to use the key. Sorry, I want to access Eguero from this dictionary. I want to access Eguero from here. I want to print out this. So I will use the key of Eguero to print it out. That is what will represent the index. So what I'm going to do is I am going to say print, and then I will call the container where I have the value, and then use the same selection bracket to show that out of an entire container, you want to pull out one. So now that which you want to pull out is a string. If you look at first name is a string. So I have to put it in my quotation as what? First name. And then if I run it, that will print out only what? Eguero. So that is one of the differences between other advanced data type and dictionary. Other advanced data type, you can use the index and number to print out to access individual values. But when it comes to a dictionary, you have to use the key, and you have to reference the key as a string by putting it in either single quotes or double quotes. So let me give us 5 minutes to try what we have learned so far before I proceed. So let me leave my screen here so that we can see what I've done. So your 5 minutes have started. Start now. Mr. Ambrose, please. Okay, your screen is coming up.
As he was running away there, Baker, he's hoping that 1 minute not fixing was the same. Yeah. This one. Hi, what's happening?
Okay, so while you are okay, you have removed it.
Fingers pumped screws against Lord Tampa Lake and Red Chelsea that must play. Only quite the speed of the second acting or the starter, there will be next.
The error is the type of brackets you are using to select the key. You have to use square brackets. Yes. You have to use square brackets.
I think it's. I'm using the square bracket now.
The name of your dictionary is biodata. Then, oh yeah, print. Let's see. I think reprint it. Let's see. Now, if you look at this, debug your error. Look at your error description. It says was never closed. So there is one of the, you can see you are supposed to have 2 parentheses closing bracket. One is for the print, one is for the. Okay, now you are not supposed to have that. After that, look at the after data, remove that calling that parenthesis bracket. You are not supposed to have it. Yes. Click that place. Click that place. Delete it. This is how you are supposed to have it. Now reprint. Let's see. Always check your key error. Now, what does it say now? Your first name. Your first name. Let's look at it together. Print biodata. Your first name. All the spelling is the same with Is the spelling the same and is the case the same from
Yeah,
the
I've been reading. It's okay. First name Osadibi, age, country, state, gender, male,
print
and I did the
biodata
first
select? Now, can you delete it and use a single? Yeah, let's go again. Print. Let's go print. Open brackets. Print. Open
print
brackets.
biodata.
Not print underscore. Print. Just open the bracket first. Let's take it one step to the other. Now go inside. Type biodata. Type biodata. Type it, and then good. Now inside the biodata, inside the biodata,
Mhm.
square bracket, biodata square bracket, biodata square bracket,
Mhm.
string, single quote. Let's put single quote. Or yeah, type the name, first name, right? Or yeah, pick it from there.
Mhm.
Now let's run it and see if we are going to get the results.
It's the same thing.
It's a first name key error. Key error is first name. Let's look at where you declare the. Oh, look at it. Look at where the error. Your dictionary is faulty. After first name, you have colon. That colon that you have after name in the dictionary shouldn't be there. It's the one that you have after the string of. Please try to understand where I'm directing you to. After first
Yeah.
name, the
Uh-huh.
colon you have there shouldn't be there. Not the one that is coming after the closing of the string. No, in your dictionary itself. No,
Yeah, this
yes,
one.
that one. No, the next one. There's another column before that one. No, before that, please. Yes, that one. Good. Delete it. You're not supposed to have it. Good.
But when I ran it the first one, it works.
It did not sit very well. Now run it. Now
Okay,
let's run the command and see whether we'll get good. So you
okay.
can see it now.
Okay.
I hope you have taken notes of your error.
Yes.
All right, so you can share now. I think the 5 minutes that I give to us has elapsed, so we have to proceed. Or every other person, I hope we are good. Nobody's having issue, right? We have all implemented. All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now let's look at we are still on dictionary. As a matter of fact, these 4 data type, list and dictionary, are the most important one. So once you understand these two, every other one within few seconds, we will just conclude them. So let's look at how to modify dictionary. Modify dictionary. Values. Remember we said dictionary is a key value pair. It has a key section. It has a value section. So the value can be manipulated. That is, just like I've stored Eguero in this key first name, I can change my mind and say, okay, I'm no longer storing Prosper Eguero there. I want to store Prosper in that key. That is manipulation. So how do we do that? We are going to reference, you are going to reference that key. You are going to bring out that key and reassign another value. That is how you're going to do it. So the syntax for, I think the task, let me put it in form of a task. The task is that change first name value. So the value that is stored in first name is what we want to change. Value to Prosper. All right, so I'll start by calling back the dictionary, which is what? Biodata. So you call back the container first. Then after that, you will now use the square bracket to acknowledge the key inside that dictionary that you want to change its value. And the key is what? First name. All right, then you will now equate it. You see it now, you now equate it to the new value. The new value will now be recognized as a string or number. If it's a number, you don't put it in the quotation. So like I said, I'm substituting it with what? Prosper. So which means that the programming expression here is that from this dictionary, select this key and then assign this. And the way Python is going to do it is that what it works with the latest adjustments. So which means that this particular line is the latest. So whatever you must have done here will be overwritten. So now if I run it, I have the information what substituted, but I need to print again so that I can get the updates. So if I print that biodata, I will now find out whether it's going to display Eguero under the first name key or Prosper. That is how I will know that I have actually what? Modified it. So reprint to see the updates. All right, so I will just say print biodata, print biodata. So if I print it now, print biodata. So if you check, you see that what? First name have received what? Prosper instead of what? Eguero. So the same thing, if I want to modify the age, the same thing I'm going to do. I'll start by, I'm just repeating it so that it can sync. You call back the dictionary and then you use square brackets to acknowledge the key. And the key is what? Age. And then you equate the whole of this to the new value. The new value is 90. You can see that I did not quote it because it's a number. And then if I print it, acknowledge. Then for me to see the update, I have to what? To reprint the dictionary. Biodata. Then if I run it, check now, you see that what? Age has received what? New value as 90. So these are some simple manipulation you can do. Then one more manipulation we can perform on a Python dictionary is to add new item. So let's assume that we want to add another key and another value to this entire dictionary. So that is going to be our next activity. That is what? How to add new elements to a Python dictionary. All right. So for example, what is a task? Add address. So we want to add address to biodata dictionary. We want to add address. So if you look at the dictionary correctly, there's no address, stopped as gender. So we want to add the address of this person. So the syntax is going to be you are going to call the entire dictionary again, just like what we did now, very similar to it. So I'll say biodata, all right? And then I will use the square bracket, but this time around, since we are adding, we are not calling an existing key. So we just pass in the key. The key, if it's, remember, so I'll say what? Address. So what value is the address going to hold? You equate it to it. So it's also a string. So the address is, let's say what? Data state. I'm just using this. So now if I print it, acknowledge. So if I want to get the full update, I have to reprint. So I'll simply do print biodata again, print biodata, and then you will notice that what it has been added. Look at it here. So we are able to add another key and also what add another value. I hope that is clear. That is clear, right? So before we look at how to merge two or more dictionary, you can have two dictionary and decide to merge them. To merge means to join them together to become one. All right, and that will form a new dictionary entirely. So, but we can do that same thing I taught us the other time. If you want to check other functions that can be used to manipulate dictionary just for your personal research, you can just print like this, just like I taught us the other time. You can just print print dir, right? And then you pass in what you want to print. Let's say what? Dict. So I want to print other related function to this. So that will output other functions. So if you check it out, you can see, if I scroll here, you can see other functions that you can use to manipulate. You can see them. So at your own convenience time, for those of us that really want to go advanced with it, you can play around them. So let's quickly look at how to merge dictionary. How to merge dictionary. How do we merge? So for you to merge, it means you need to have two. Now remember that we have one dictionary already. So if I want to merge it with another dictionary, all I'm going to use is to use a function called, let me add it to it, using dot update function. So that is what I'm going to use. In other words, to merge them together, you will use this function. So what is the syntax? So let's say I have dictionary 2 and just quickly create two different dictionary and then show us how we can merge them together. So remember the bracket we are using, know how to declare your key. So the key here, let's say city, and then you come here, put a column before the value is, let's say Asaba, then comma, then another key definition, let's say code, let's say postal code, then the value, the code can be 333, let's say this. So this is one dictionary. So let me do for D3, and then same thing. The first key is, let's say country, and then country, NG. Okay, so let me just make it two as well. LGA. Okay, so let's say Oshimili nuts. So to merge two of them together, like I said, when you are merging, you are actually collapsing the 2 or 3 dictionary to a different one. So you will now define the name, or the way you are going to do it is that you are collapsing one into the other. Now we have dictionary 2, we have dictionary 3. So the question is that I want to merge them together, which means that I will say, okay, all the elements in dictionary 3 should come and meet the elements in dictionary 2. So in that case, I will say what? Dictionary 2, concatenate it with the dot. Then you will now bring in the update as the function. So the inside the update as a function, you pass in the second dictionary, which is what? Dict3, which means what you are saying is that what? All the elements here should collapse into what? This. So in that case, you have meshed them. So if you run it, you get everything acknowledged. So to see the update, I will print dictionary 2 because right now I have 3 in 2. So I can't print 3. I should be printing what? 3. So I will just say print the 2. I will just print the 2. And then if you check it now, you see that what? You should be having all the values. And then the other is that the base, the one that is hosting them, values will show first. So if you check it now, this is the first one, and then this is the dictionary 3. So this is the logic on how you can merge two dictionary together in Python. All right, so we can also check. There's a way we can check. So this one is, let me just do it. How to, let's see whether it's going to be useful to someone. How to check the presence of a value in a dictionary. How to check the presence of value in a dictionary. Now, for example, I want to check whether in dictionary 2 we have anything called city. We want to know whether, so this is just like you are just testing Python sensitivity or AI. All right, so what I'm going to do, the syntax is that I will just call it like this. So if I say salary, and then I do what? In D2. Salary in D2. And you print it. What do we have here? Let's see if we have a reasonable value. What we are supposed to get. Okay, let me see. What do I have? Do we really need this? I'm going to try to confirm something. Let's say city in D2. Because before I can explain this, I need to talk about a conditional statement. So let me leave this because there's a concept we're supposed to learn before coming here. So let's see. So that is actually all about dictionary. So if we can go and check those other methods that we had put through the dir, we can play around other things we can do with dictionary. So the next data type, so I'm going to give us, let me give us 5 minutes to implement this. And then when we return, I will look at this, the third advanced data type, which is I'll look at tuple, and then we'll now round it off with sets. Like I told you, set and tuple, once you understand lists, they are very simple. So we are rounding up soon. So 5 minutes to implement this for those that have not confirmed this before we proceed. I think 5 minutes should even be too much. So you can start now.
Can you please scroll down a little bit? I want to see capture the upper part.
Here?
From dictionary elements.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, here. Okay.
Yes. You have to. Okay.
This
From
where
value.
we started dictionary.
From elements. Where I miss is from elements. From how to access dictionary elements.
Where to access, how to access this. Yeah, now here.
Here.
So
Let this be heading.
So you can take it now.
Okay. Taking.
I should go down.
I'm done. I'm done. It's only that part I
Okay.
miss.
All right. All right. Mrs. Jane, how are you doing? Hope you are following.
Please go up. Oh, you've removed what I'm typing. Oh.
Okay. Are you okay like this?
Yeah, it's okay. Address. Dictionary. Address. Address. Postal. Postal. State. Yes. Print. Okay. Print. Print. Biodata. Print. PIN. Open bracket. Print. DIR. Open position. Dict. Okay. Shift. Let's merge dictionary.
Are we good to go now? Okay, so I believe we should be good now. Let's look at how we can round up on time. All right. All right. So I believe we are all good. So let's look at the third one. Python tuple. So how do we define tuple? So tuple is another advanced data structure in Python, which also holds multiple value. Remember, I told that they all have common attribute. One, all of them can hold multiple value, but the structure or the manner at which they hold this multiple value is what differentiates one from the other. And I said the focus of their differences most time is on the type of bracket you are using. So anybody who understands lists is very easy to understand sets and tuple, right? So like a tuple, I can just say the syntax is like T1 equals to, then I will use this bracket instead of using the square bracket or the coiling brace brackets. In the case of tuple, is just to use this function normal bracket. So the same thing, if you want to create a tuple of numbers, then you don't need to code them as well. So the same thing. So if I want to print the value of a tuple, I will just use the same print, and then I'll say what? Print what? T1. So if I run it, I get the values, right? So if I want to use index, so here you can go back to your index concept of accessing value. Let's say I want to print 90 from the whole of that tuple. So I'll still use the same method. Then select the tuple, which is T1, then your square bracket, then let's say what? 0. That will also what? Print the value you want. So the only place where you cannot depend on the index is when you are dealing with dictionary, because dictionary has its own key that can be used to access its value. All right. So one of the difference between tuple and lists is that tuple, once a tuple is created, it will not allow you to add elements. You see, this is one unique differences we should take note. Once in lists, you can create a list and then be able to add. At least you saw how we were adding, how we were removing. You can't do all of that when you are working with tuple. Once you create it, it does not give room for modifying the value. So once you create it, it assigns that address to itself that cannot be manipulated. So that is one thing we should know. For example, now, if we try doing some of the things we did in with lists, for example, if I say T1 and I want to say append, remember what we achieved with append then. Append was used to add. So if I say, okay, I want to add another element, I want to add 700 to what? To this tuple. If I run it, it's going to throw what? An error. So take note, tuple can hold multiple value, but once they are created, they cannot be modified. They are only read. That is why sometimes we refer to them as read-only lists, a version of lists, but these ones are for only what? Reading. That's what you can only see. So for example, if you also run that dir to know the functions that are associated with this, you will notice that you won't see anything insert, which allow you to manipulate. You will not see anything append, but you see those ones that allow you to read the value. For example, now, if I say print len, if you can still remember this, if I say len T1, so which means that is going to print what? You say what? Has no attribute, what? Append. Okay, let me clear this first. So if I print here now, you see that what? It printed what? 3, which means that it counted. All right, so like I was saying, which means that it counted the numbers of what? Elements in that tuple. So why it allowed the counting? Because counting does not really tamper with the content. It does not. So if we want to print it now, if I say print and I say dir, and then I supply the data type, I want to print its related functions for manipulating it. So let's say tuple, and I print it, check what is going to happen. You can see that all these functions that came out, you will not see anything append. You will not see insert. So, all right. So that is how to check the functions that are related to working with what? Tuple. Now, let's quickly look at the last one, which is, so we don't have much to do with tuple because we cannot manipulate its content. So that is why we don't have to start doing, we want to append, we want to remove. You can only display or count the values in it. So we just go straight to the last one, which we take us to the closing. All right. So the last one is set. Python set. So set is part of the Python multi-structure data. So remember, we have lists, we have tuple, we have dictionary, we have sets. Set is just like the normal set we were taught in secondary school. All right, so Python can handle it here. So set is also used to hold multiple values, just like the other ones. So for example, the syntax, let's also take note of the function we use for set. So the syntax will be, let's say what, S1, just to represent the name of my set. Now you can see it now, you are using this calling bracket that you use for dictionary. But the difference is that dictionary bracket encloses key and value. But for set, it's the same bracket, but there's no key. So which means that I can just list or collect what? Set of values. So I'll just, okay, for example, set of 10, 20, 30, 10. Let's say can also collect floats 1.13, and then we can do we can also collect Boolean. Remember, Boolean means what? True or what? Or false. So now this is one set, so I can have set 2 equals to, there's some manipulation I want us to know. That is why I want to create 2 different sets. Set 2, the type of brackets. So let's say I want 10 and what? 20. So we can print intercepts. Remember, all these things are things we were taught. Intercept. Intercept means what? What you have, the common values in both sets, just like the way we were taught. So we can do that. So if you want to print that, this is what you are going to do. You are going to reference the first one. I can say what? S1 dot intersection, and then supply the other one, which is what? S2. So if I run it and then acknowledge, so if I want to see the value, I will print remember we concatenated S2 into, so if I print S1, I should be getting the intersection, which is what? Where is it here? What do we have here? Let me see. I hope I'm correct. What do we have there? Okay, so it printed 30. Okay, so you can see what happened here is that we have 10 here. In that S1, we have 10. We have 10. So which were repeated, but when you print the intercept, it printed what? Only what? One out of them, the unique one. So that is how it interpreted them. So we can as well print union, just like the normal way we know them. We can print S1 union S2. We can print that. So we can simply say S1 dot union. We have the function like that. Union what? S2. All right. So acknowledge. So we can now, but I can say print S1 union S1 union S2. Okay, so you get the value here. All right, so I think that is all we have for the data, the advanced data type. So like I told us before, the one that we really need most, the one we need to understand, because when we start analyzing data, we need the concept of lists and dictionary. Ordinarily, I will have just focused on those two and then leave tuple and sets because we are not going to work with them at all. But because I have already mentioned them, I just have to do one or two practical. So that's why I spent more time on the list and dictionary, because we are going to see their application when we start analyzing data. So guys, this is where we draw the curtain. So what you have to go and master from variable to where we are now. So it's assumed that you understand Python basics. So our next meeting, which is on Thursday, we are going to start introduction to Python for data analysis, because everything we are learning since has nothing to do with data analysis. It's just like we are trying to understand Python fundamentals to an extent before we can start using the language. So there we will now start seeing the real application of all these things that we are doing. By the time we start applying them, you will now be, then if you come back to all this code, all these things we have done, they will make more sense, because then you will have started seeing how we are manipulating our data with the list concepts, with the dictionary concepts, with the variable concepts, and the rest. Any question? We have questions. Yes, sir.
I want to make a reference. It's not question per se, but something I want you to help me do.
Okay. I can hear you, sir. We can no longer hear you. If you can hear me. Hello, sir. Can you guys hear him? Network is not stable, either his or mine.
This Python,
You can hear me. Quickly, so that we can. Mr. Ambrose, you said something. Sorry, we are not hearing you before. Can you hear me? All right. What will happen is that can you drop the message in WhatsApp group since network is so we have to draw the curtain here. Good night, everyone. Mr. Ambrose, if you can hear me, drop the message in the WhatsApp group.